The snow fell in thick, perfect sheets over whispering pines. The kind of upscale Colorado gated community that looked like a Christmas card from the outside. Manicured lawns dusted white. Twinkling lights on every third house exactly as the HOA handbook allowed. And not a single inflatable Santa in sight, because Karen Hargrove had banned them after January 1st last year. Tasteful only, she'd sniffed in her monthly newsletter. Tasteful, of course, meant whatever kept her in control. I was Alex Rivera, 31, the woman who worked from home in a simple gray hoodie while the rest of the neighborhood pretended I was the glitch in their perfect spreadsheet. My house sat at the end of Maple Lane, the one Karen loved to ticket for non-compliant curb appeal, even though my grass was always exactly 2.5 inches. She just hated that I never smiled at her clipboard patrols. Inside the clubhouse that night, December 23rd, the air smelled of catered roast beef and the faint metallic tang of old money pretending it wasn't drowning in HOA special assessments. 19 board members and their favorite neighbors sat around the long mahogany table I had personally funded the refinishing of 3 years ago when the original cracked under Karen's dramatic fist-pounding. To my left sat Mrs. Ellison, the retired real estate agent who measured everyone's mailbox height with a tape measure. To my right, Todd the accountant, who once wrote me up for parking my sensible sedan too close to the aesthetic line. And at the head, reigning like a queen on her plastic throne, was Karen Hargrove herself, HOA president, self-appointed guardian of suburban virtue, silver bob helmet hair, pearl earrings, and a smile that could freeze lava. I was used to being invisible here. For 7 years, I had played the quiet coder who just typed on her laptop all day. They never knew that the Pines Guard AI system they bragged about at every open house, the one that auto-detected roof leaks, flagged fire hazards, alerted for elderly falls, and even negotiated bulk utility discounts, had been written by me on weekends while they slept. I uploaded the open-source version anonymously. Karen took credit for overseeing the implementation. I paid the $48,000 installation out of my own pocket, so the HOA budget wouldn't spike dues. I covered every overage since. Spreadsheet in my cloud drive called Whispering Pine Support. Total so far, $542,700. $500,000 to keep their perfect little kingdom running while they treated me like the neighbor who couldn't color inside the lines. Karen tapped her spoon against her crystal water glass. The room hushed like a courtroom. This was her annual pre-Christmas toast. Usually she droned about community values and the sanctity of covenants. Tonight she stood, smoothing her navy blazer, eyes sweeping the table like a hawk choosing prey. She raised her glass of overpriced Cabernet I had quietly paid the caterer's bill for. To Whispering Pines, she began, voice syrupy sweet. To our pristine lawns, our impeccable safety record, and the purity of our standards. She paused for dramatic effect, the same way she paused before slapping violation notices on windshields. Her gaze slid past the smiling board members and landed on me like a guillotine. The smile vanished. But if I'm being honest with you all tonight, she continued, projecting so the ancestors in the framed founder photos could hear. The best Christmas gift I could possibly receive would be if Alex Rivera simply disappeared from our community entirely. The silence lasted half a heartbeat. Then the laughter started. Todd barked first, shaking his head like she'd told the funniest joke at a comedy club. Mrs. Ellison clapped lightly. Within seconds, half the table was chuckling, a few even raising their glasses in mock toast. No one said, "That's too far." No one said, "Karen, she's a resident." They agreed. In their narrative, I was the stain, the woman who dared question the absurd rule about holiday light wattage, the one who didn't understand real neighborly spirit because I worked in tech instead of scrapbooking committee meetings. I sat frozen, watching the chandelier light refract through my untouched wine. My own HOA. The people whose pool I secretly paid to heat, whose security cameras I coded to actually work, wanted me gone. Rage wasn't hot. It was absolute zero. Crystal clear. They had no idea I owned the server contract. They had no idea one signature from me tomorrow would trigger rate hikes that would bankrupt their precious budget. They thought I was the parasite. I was the host. I placed my napkin on the table, smoothed it once, and stood. The chair scraped like a starter pistol. Karen's smile faltered for the first time. If that's your wish. Karen, I said, voice steady as code compiling. I'll make sure it's granted properly. I didn't scream. I didn't list the 500,000 I'd poured into their illusion. I simply turned and walked out. Behind me, Todd called. Oh, come on. Alex. She's joking. Lighten up. Karen's voice floated after me. Sweet as poison. Let her go. Maybe she'll actually do it. That would be a Christmas miracle. More laughter. The door closed behind me with a heavy thud that felt like a guillotine. Outside, the coal bit clean. I left the clubhouse keys on the console table next to the stack of unpaid special assessment invoices I usually covered on the 24th. I walked past the heated pool I funded, past the security gate I coded, and got into my modest sedan, the one they made me park around the side so it wouldn't ruin the aesthetic. In the driver's seat, my phone buzzed. Not text from the board mocking me. An email. Subject, confidential executive role discussion. Lumitech Community Solutions. My breath caught. Lumitech wasn't just a company. They were the Amazon of smart home communities. They had been buying up HOAs across the Midwest, scaling AI systems that actually worked. I opened it. Graham Vance, CEO, wrote that they had tracked my open-source Pines Guard architecture for 3 years. The system had reduced emergency response times by 60%, flagged 3 near-fatal gas leaks last quarter alone, and saved an estimated 13,000 community incidents nationwide in the last 9 months. They were offering me Chief Technology Officer, plus the Pinnacle Community Innovation Award at tomorrow night's Whispering Pines Gala. They wanted to announce it right after Karen's keynote. I looked back at the glowing clubhouse. Through the window, I could see Karen still holding court, glass raised, basking in applause for her brilliant leadership. She wanted me gone. A slow, terrifying smile spread across my face. Okay, Karen, I whispered to the windshield. You'll get exactly what you wished for. I typed 2 sentences. I accept. See you at the gala. The headlights cut through the snow as I backed out of the driveway of the community I secretly owned. Tomorrow they would learn what disappearing really looked like. And it wasn't me moving out. It was their entire kingdom losing its foundation. To understand why walking out of that clubhouse felt like escaping a cult, you have to understand the mythology of Whispering Pines, HOA. They actually called it that in their newsletters, the Whispering Pines Legacy. Karen Hargrove positioned herself as the 3rd-generation guardian, even though she'd only lived here 8 years. Her husband had been the original board president until he retired after a quiet financial audit nobody talked about. Now Karen ruled with an iron clipboard. Growing up, no. Moving in here 7 years ago, I was supposed to be the perfect resident. Quiet, compliant, grateful. But biology made me allergic to committee meetings, and memorizing arbitrary rules felt like punishment. What I loved was logic, patterns, the clean truth of data. At 24, fresh out of grad school, I wrote a simple script for fun that auto-scheduled maintenance crews based on weather data. Karen looked at it, patted my head at the next meeting, and told the board I was going through a tech phase. 20 years later, she still called it that. The dinner conversations were always the same. They spoke in HOA shorthand, fines, covenants, aesthetic integrity, encrypting everything so outsiders stayed out. I sat cutting my roast beef, playing the dutiful ghost. Then the crash happened. 7 years ago, the HOA almost collapsed. A massive lawsuit from a slip and fall at the clubhouse pool. Karen won technically, but legal fees and the settlement cratered the reserve fund. Dues were about to double. Property values would tank. The lifestyle they worshipped was days from repossession. I was the only one with perfect credit and liquid assets. Karen called me, not asking, demanding loyalty. "It's temporary," she said. "The community needs a bridge." That bridge was me. I sat in the bank office while the loan officer looked at Karen's financials with pity and mine with surprise. I signed. I became co-signer on the massive refinancing of the entire common area debt. I put my future on the line to save the neighborhood I was now being driven out of. It didn't stop there. Karen was terrible with money. She spent like a queen on parties and community events while forgetting basic bills. To keep the credit score healthy, the payments had to be on time. So I took over quietly. For 84 months, I paid the utilities, the landscaping, the security contracts, the special assessments they conveniently forgot. I treated the HOA like a client. Spreadsheet named Whispering Pine Support. Every transaction logged. I could recite the numbers in my sleep. Average monthly operating cost $5,100. 10 separate mortgage saves of $8,400 each. Total $542,700. I never said a word. At Thanksgiving 3 years ago, Karen bragged about the phenomenal landscaping this year. Todd nodded. "Must cost a fortune." Karen swirled her wine. "It takes dedication. The men and women of the board work 80-hour weeks to maintain this standard. Alex helps with the utility bill here and there. Pocket money stuff." I stopped chewing. My phone had just pinged the $5,200 landscaping transfer, clearing my account. Pocket money. Later in the kitchen, my neighbor Elaine whispered, "Please don't talk about money at the table. Alex, it makes Karen feel inadequate. We just need to be supportive." Supportive. My exploitation wasn't theft. It was sensitivity. Sitting in my freezing car that night, I pulled out my laptop and opened the file one last time. The bottom cell glowed yellow. $542,700. $500,000 to buy a seat at a table that wanted me erased from the group photo. Next to it lay the community Christmas card they'd printed without me, taken on a Tuesday while I was at work. "We didn't want to disturb you," Karen had said. "You're always so busy with your typing." I closed the laptop. The snap sounded like a gunshot. I was done paying. If they wanted me gone, they were getting it. But when you stop paying the bill, the lights go out for free. 1 week earlier, December 16th, I'd been in my home office staring at a half-eaten salad when the same Lumitech email arrived. They had scaled my open-source Pines Guard into a full emergency response suite. Reduced misdiagnosis of property hazards by 60%. Saved 13,000 incidents. They offered CTO at $480,000 plus $180 million equity. And they wanted to announce it at the gala, right after Karen's keynote, along with the Pinnacle Award. The contrast hit like whiplash. On my phone, a text from Karen, "Don't forget the potluck. Bring wine that doesn't come from a box. And please dress like an adult. Try to have a conversation that fits the room. This is for real community leaders. Just listen and learn." I looked at the laptop. $180 million. Saved 13,000 incidents. Then back at the phone. "Box wine." I replied to Karen, "Sure. I'll bring the good stuff. And don't worry, I won't say a word about code until the time is right." I clicked reply to Graham Vance with one condition. I would announce the $55 million Lumitech sponsorship myself. I wanted to stand over Karen when the lights came on. I spent the next 24 hours in full forensic mode. First, I logged into the secure data room Lumitech sent. There it was, the Whispering Pines Innovation Pavilion Pledge Agreement. $55 million to build a new smart clubhouse. Key facilitator listed, Karen Hargrove. She had written the memo claiming she personally cultivated the relationship with Lumitech by leveraging the community's deep tech network. Deep tech network. She met me, the woman she mocked for typing. I dug deeper. Using the admin login she'd given me years ago to fix the website and never changed, I found her application for permanent board chair. In the personal statement she wrote, "I have demonstrated commitment to the future by leading the strategic alignment with Lumitech. While some resist AI, I have guided these tech companies to ensure their tools serve the community, not replace human oversight." The hypocrisy tasted like battery acid. In public, she called my system a crutch for lazy board members. In the application, she was its shepherd. My phone rang. Private number. DR. Maraguitlek. No. Wait. In this world, it was actually the community manager. But the voice was the same steel. "Alex, it's Linda from the HOA Oversight Committee. I know about the Lumitech offer. Karen has been taking credit for your system for months. She tells the board she mentors you on real community logic. We're embarrassed." The Pinnacle Committee dismissed her submission. Yours was called generational. Linda paused. "If you take that stage tomorrow, you won't be walking into a trap. You'll be walking into the welcome you actually deserve." I needed more than professional leverage. I needed control. I opened my finance folder and zoomed on the refinancing agreement page 42. Clause 4C, the cosigner retention clause. If I withdrew, interest jumped from 3.7% to 7.6%. Monthly payment from $12,400 to $23,800. An extra $11,400 Karen could never afford. She had zero liquidity. Default in 90 days. The clubhouse, the pool, the gates, the symbols of her power would be foreclosed. But I wasn't done. I downloaded her conference presentations. Slide 12 showed my exact flowchart, titled Hargrove Initiative. No credit. I screenshot every email where she asked me to explain that computer thing again. I built a folder, receipts for when they say I never helped, bank transfers, loan scans, stolen slides, the group chat screenshot of her toast. Then I called Graham Vance. "I accept, but I have conditions. The $55 million pavilion falls under my direct oversight. Karen gets zero authority. I announced the donation myself." Graham chuckled darkly. "Done. She is out." I drafted the formal letter to the bank. Effective January 1st, I withdrew as co-signer. I hit send. The automated reply came back instantly. Rate adjustment to 7.6%. New payment $23,800. Default notice in 5 business days. I canceled every autopay I had carried for 7 years. Mortgage, electricity, landscaping, HOA master account. Each click felt surgical. I was cutting the blood supply to a tumor. The drive to the gala on December 24th felt different. No anxiety, only cold clarity. I wore a sleek black dress that commanded space. MIT pin on the lapel Karen once called a participation trophy. I walked into the Silverline Grand Hotel ballroom, 600 residents glittering under chandeliers. Table 1 was Lumitech Executive Row. Table 3 was Karen's throne. Karen was already holding court, laughing that big booming laugh, gesturing with her champagne flute. She looked lighter, happier, like she had successfully amputated me. She hadn't seen me yet. The lights dimmed. Linda took the stage. "Please welcome our keynote speaker, HOA President Karen." Applause. Karen bounced up the steps, owning the room. "Thank you," she boomed. "Tonight, I want to talk about legacy." She clicked the remote. Slides of past presidents. No photo of me. "We live in changing times," she said, tone shifting to attack. "We hear a lot of noise about technology, about machines, about AI. They tell us algorithms are the future. I say technology is a tool, often a crutch for the weak. A machine does not have community spirit. We must not let cold code replace warm, neighborly oversight. A young resident stood up from the back. But ma'am, the Pines Guard system you oversee just saved my grandmother last month. Flagged a gas leak the inspector missed. Karen laughed dismissively. Placebo effect. And let's be clear, my daughter of the community, Alex, is a sweet girl, but she dabbles in computers. She helps with the Wi-Fi. That's her contribution. Real innovation comes from leaders, not children playing with code. The room chuckled politely. Cruel. I started to rise. Graham's hand landed on my arm. Wait. Let her dig the hole. Karen raised her hands for the finale. To the hands that enforce the rules. To the minds that protect our covenants. The future belongs to those who hold the clipboard. Applause was thin. Karen finally looked at table one. Her eyes locked on mine. The smile froze. Linda walked back to the podium. Thank you, Karen, for that passionate reminder of where we came from. But communities evolve. Sometimes you have to cut away the necrotic tissue of the past. She gestured. Please welcome CEO of Lumitech, Graham Vance. Graham bounded up. I'm going off script, because there's a story here that can't wait. We searched for a leader who could bridge silicon and covenants. We found her right here. The screen flashed blue. Pines Guard AI platform. Data points exploded. Emergency response time down 42%. Hazard detection up 55%. Incidents prevented 13,283. Graham's voice rose. That number is verified. Every 40 minutes a resident in an HOA somewhere walks away safe because this system caught what human eyes missed. He looked straight at Karen. The creator has been in the shadows. Tonight, we bring her into the light. The winner of the Pinnacle Community Innovation Award is Alex Rivera. The room gasped. The spotlight swung to me. I stood. The walk to the stage forced me past Karen's table. Time slowed. Karen's hand shot out, grabbing my wrist. Alex, sit down. You're making a scene. I leaned in so only she could hear. You told me the best gift would be if I disappeared. I'm just following orders. I pulled free. Enjoy the show. On stage, the applause became thunderous. Residents who used the system every day realized who built it. I took the mic. Growing up, moving into Whispering Pines, I was taught that if you don't hold a clipboard, you don't protect the community. I was taught my passion for data was a betrayal of neighborhood values. I was told my work was a toy. I clicked the remote. A stark bar graph appeared. Since silent deployment 9 months ago, mortality risk from undetected hazards dropped 31%. Misdiagnosis of structural threats dropped 52%. Case number scrolled. Case 449, 78-year-old resident. Attending wanted to ignore mild symptoms. System flagged 90% probability of carbon monoxide buildup. She's alive today because code saw what the inspector missed. Linda stepped forward with a folder. It's important to clarify the record. The board audited recent claims. Every high-profile save Karen has taken credit for was first flagged by Alex's system, hours or days before she acted. She never disclosed the source. The room erupted in angry murmurs. Karen sat rigid, face pale. I continued. Saving incidents wasn't enough to earn a seat at the table. Last night, Karen made a Christmas wish. She asked me to disappear. 18 board members laughed. I clicked. The group chat screenshot filled the screen. The best Christmas gift would be if Alex Rivera disappeared from this community entirely. Reactions. 18 haha. Dead silence. Last night, I was told I contribute nothing. I'm a parasite. Another click. My spreadsheet zoomed. Total $542,700. While you sat at potlucks, joking I played with computers, I paid the electricity that lit this ballroom. I paid the water that kept your lawns emerald. I paid the mortgage on the common areas 10 separate times when the primary borrower forgot. Karen shot up, knocking her glass. Red wine stained the white cloth like blood. "You cannot do that," she screamed. "That's our community." I looked down. "I'm giving you your wish. I'm disappearing from a debt. Effective January 1st, I withdrew my name from every financial obligation. Your interest rate just jumped to 7.6%. New monthly payment, $23,800. Default notice arrives in 5 days." Karen's face collapsed. Linda tapped the mic. "Regarding the Innovation Pavilion, Lumitech retains governance. Karen Hargrove is removed from all authority. The new pavilion will report directly to the CTO of Lumitech, Alex Rivera." The irony landed like a slap. The building Karen had bragged would bear her name would now be run by the woman she tried to erase. I stepped back. I didn't come to destroy anyone's position. I came to correct the narrative. For 7 years, I let you tell a story where I was the failure. Tonight, the silence ends. I'm done paying for a seat where I'm not respected. From now on, I build my own table. The applause was thunderous this time. Real. Earned. Karen was the only one still sitting, small and alone under the giant screen bearing my name. The moment I stepped off stage, the room swarmed. Reporters, residents, headhunters. A young mother grabbed my hands. "Your system flagged my son's carbon monoxide alarm last month. He's alive because of you. Thank you." Tears pricked my eyes, not pain. Release. Before I could reach the exit, a claw grabbed my arm. Karen, face mottled red, dragged me into the alcove. "You little traitor," she hissed. "You humiliated me in front of 600 people. My board chair application is suspended. Fix this. Go back out there and tell them it was a mistake." I looked at the woman who had terrorized me for 7 years. "I owe you exactly one thing, the disappearance you asked for. I'm gone from the mortgage, gone from the utilities, gone from the silent ATM that kept your ego inflated. You wanted a neighbor who disappears. Congratulations. But when the foundation disappears, the whole house falls." "Ethan, no." Todd stumbled out drunk. "You ruined everything. The board is auditing me now because of you." Elaine, my quiet neighbor who never defended me, rushed up sobbing. "Please, Alex, we're community. Don't leave us in debt." I asked her the question I'd waited years for. Last night when Karen raised her glass and said the best gift would be if I disappeared, when everyone laughed, "Did you say anything? Did you say that's too far?" Silence. She looked at the floor. "No." Then tonight, I'm just doing what she wanted. And since you agreed, you get to live with it. I opened the group chat on my phone, hit leave conversation, and blocked notifications. If you want me back, the price is a real apology and real change. Until then, I'm a ghost. I turned and walked back into the ballroom. A young resident in a cheap suit stopped me. "Ms. Rivera, 2 months ago your system flagged a rare structural weakness in my elderly neighbor's roof. We caught it before the blizzard. She's safe because of you. Thank you. That was the family I owed." Outside, snow fell softly. Through the glass, I saw Karen alone on the smoking terrace, hunched under Christmas lights. No longer a queen. She looked small. I turned away. A black sedan pulled up. Lumitech arranged. I slid in. The driver said, "Ms. Rivera, welcome to the team." As we pulled away, I thought about the woman who used to sit at the end of the table, terrified to speak. I left her on the sidewalk. If your HOA only treasures you when you're small and silent, remember, you do not exist to decorate their covenants. You can disappear from the places where you're not seen and appear in the places where your value saves lives. The best gift wasn't disappearing. The best gift was finally showing up. Thank you for listening to this HOA Karen story. Drop where you're watching from. Hiding in the bathroom from your own neighborhood drama? If you love the justice served cold, smash like, subscribe, and share so more people see what happens when a Karen finally meets her match. Until next time, boundaries aren't punishments. They're the price of admission to your peace. See you in the next story.